guys, it's Will here, back again for another episode of Live InArt Collectibles interview. Johnny, so good to have you, man. I think this is what, like, how many interviews we've done now? I think we've done like maybe 5, 6, 7, something like that. It's been a lot.
Maybe, but probably everyone's going to think I'm more biased towards you. But you're the guy
that one we did in San Diego, remember? That was it. You literally walked in the front door as I was doing just a regular live stream. And then you said a bunch of shit that people probably believe. They were like, I hope Will's saying everything that we paid him to say. I was like, dude, Dean was like, don't say that. People are going to believe that. That shit was hilarious, though. That was so funny. But Johnny, before we get started, I know, guys, we're not going to do any food cold opens like we normally do because we only have Johnny for about an hour. So we're going to make sure we cover as much as we can. But Johnny, before we get started, can you just tell people your role at InArt and Queen Studios for the people who are unfamiliar with you?
Yes, it's changed a little bit over the last year or so. That's why I've not been on as many streams. It's not anything to do with that we're not interested. It's just my role's changed a little bit. Mostly at the moment, I'm working on the licensing side of the business and on the B2B development. So hopefully, as Kiko always used to say, we need more distributors. So that's what my goal is. Previously, mostly marketing, and I'm still involved in that, but more helping out. So I'm doing a bit of everything still, but mostly licensing and the growing business partners.
Gotcha. Well, by the way, Johnny, apparently, I'm just being told this now as we're going live. Apparently, YouTube is down for half of the US right now. So for how many people are going to be able to join this live stream, who knows? This might be one that people are going to have to watch after the fact because we're live already. So we're just going to do this interview and make it work regardless. But look, if YouTube's down and the live streams are going down, we're going to make it work. And like I said, it's going to play for people as quickly as we can. One thing I will say for the people who are able to watch this, what I will say is, Johnny, I have 10 questions for you. I know I sent those to you ahead of time. And for the people who are posting in, messages and questions that we want to get to, I'm going to mix those in as we go through our questions. And of course, super chats will be prioritized because people are paying to have their comment read. And then I'll try to get to any general questions. And, Johnny and I have about an hour here. So we're going to try to make sure we get as much as we can in here. And then, from there, we'll, try to mix in any other questions. But Johnny, I think we should get to a lot of good stuff. I don't know how much information you're having, being able to share tonight, but I'm pretty excited about that. So it's going to be fun. But anyway, sound good to you, Johnny?
Yeah, all sounds good.
Cool. Perfect. All right. Well, first question, because, look, this is what everyone wants to know, right? Like, what is coming from InArt down the pipeline? So I want to ask the question and share as much as you can share here. What InArt figures can collectors expect to see announced for pre-order in the end of 2025, Q4, and then, of course, into 2026? What can you share with us now that's going to be somewhat exciting to collectors? There are things that are on the horizon.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's maybe not so exciting because we've shown most of the collection at Wonder Festival. So the cat's sort of out of the bag on that one. Basically, we've got Catwoman, hopefully. We're still making tweaks and changes to Catwoman.
Okay.
And we're trying to make Catwoman as good as we possibly can. I think to me it looks a little bit pale, the face, the head sculpt. But in general, I think the likeness is pretty good. Terminator as well. We're expecting that maybe first quarter of next year, which we showed at Wonder Festival. What do you think of that?
Is it going to be? I thought it looked great. The one thing, I don't know if it's the lighting at the convention or not, but it looked like the skin tones on the neck or the head sculpt and the body were different. Was that lighting? Did it look like that in person at all?
There's a slight difference because it's a prototype, right? And there is lighting issues and photo issues. Generally, for Terminator, the turnaround's been quite fast. So I noticed a few people said, "Oh, the lightness isn't there."
Yeah.
But it was an early showing to show what we've got. The endoskeleton should be in diecast. That's something we've been working on, and that looks really, really good.
It's fully diecast.
I don't know what the percentages are, but I've been told, yeah, it's diecast that from the beginning. And then that should be ready early next year as well. So we've got Catwoman should be Q4 this year. Daryl from The Walking Dead should be ready. We're just waiting on final approvals. We finally got that one going. Other than that, no more Lord of the Rings. Maybe Dumbledore. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we can have it ready in time. Okay. I don't think we showed at Wonder Festival.
So those are the key ones next year, probably.
Probably. I haven't seen anything about that yet.
Okay.
Probably sometime next year.
Gotcha. So that could be something probably next year. Okay. Is there any update on Christian Bale Batman? Because I've heard mixed things about that.
No, the Batman that would come first will be, of course, the Batfleck that we showed at the event.
And then
yeah,
Christian
and also
Bale
we've got Christopher.
next year.
Yeah, and Christopher Reeve as well. That Superman should be ready either end of this year or beginning of next year. So most of the big announcements or early showings at Wonder Festival will be ready either Q4 or Q1 next year, all being well.
So those are the ones really that are going to be coming down the pipeline soonest. The ones that were actually shown.
Yeah.
So Game of Thrones and all that is probably sometime in the future, in the distant future.
Probably second half of next year.
Okay, right. Because I know that Daenerys has been worked on for a while, right? That one's been, that was shown like a year ago, I think. Something like that.
More than that, 2 years ago.
Crazy, dude. 2 years, dude.
Yeah, it's gone too fast.
I've been having this Drogon here with my Game of Thrones setup, waiting for InArt to jump in on Game of Thrones, and y'all have been delaying that license for forever. And I'm starting to get a little impatient. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for Game of Thrones. Yeah.
So there's a lot to work on, and I think they want to do Jon Snow around the same time. If we'd have done Daenerys too soon, I think with Thorin from The Hobbit, the thing we've learned from that is we released Thorin probably a little bit too early. So the uptake wasn't as big as we expected, probably because people want the full line. They want to know what else is coming. But to be honest, I don't think it's a bad thing, because the people that buy Thorin probably have a good secondary market if they want to. Like, look at Gandalf.
Yeah.
Gandalf's like, everyone wants Gandalf still. So
yeah.
So people that buy it, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, everyone wants that Gandalf, that's for sure. We did get a super chat real quick. I'm going to address a couple of these. Skits Craven, thanks so much. Does Hot Toys have the T1 license or just InArt? InArt, do you guys know? Is it just you guys?
Yeah, so basically, we did a collector survey around, that's probably 3 years ago now.
That's crazy.
And Terminator came up at one of the top ones. And then we pursued Terminator both licenses. But unfortunately, funnily enough, after the survey, T2 was no longer available. So
gotcha. Okay.
Even though it was before we started talking, so we took T1, which, to be honest, T2 is more popular, but T1 launched everything. So we're happy to just get the opportunity to work on T1 as well.
Yeah, T1's still going to be great. T2 obviously is a slightly more, like you said, popcorn, popular, bigger film, but T1 is still, I mean, you got some incredible stuff. Is there any talks of a Kyle Reese at all for that?
Not as of yet. We probably got the 2 Arnold figures with the battle damaged and the clean version, maybe another, because he's got two key outfits in that movie.
He's got the tech noir people too.
Yeah, so I think we'd be looking along those lines, and then we've got the Endo to begin with.
Okay.
And then Terminator is something that we're hoping to work with those guys on a lot of different projects. Like, we've got the one-to-one bust where the neck moves. So that's, I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that. That shit is wild. That's like, that Arnold battle damage head sculpt on the bust is like maybe the most lifelike head sculpt I've ever seen. Like, it's insane. Yeah, that's
and that with the robotics as well, the animatronics, it's incredible.
It's insane. I wish I was able to come to Wonderfest to see that in person, because you guys had the bust at SDCC. What was it, 2 years ago when I went, and that was crazy. And this one's even better. So it's
hopefully next year we'll be able to take it to SDCC.
Okay.
Like this year we didn't have enough licensed figures for US, but next year hopefully we can take the bust with the animatronics, and we can take more of our figures next year.
Well, Carlos had a super chat. Thanks so much, Carlos. With Rocket Toy's success with Naruto Shippuden line, will InArt consider pursuing equally major anime IPs such as One Piece or Dragon Ball Z? So you guys are doing Chainsaw Man. Is there any other anime lines you're interested in doing?
If we do anime, it will most likely be in 1/12 scale. I think with 1/6, our expertise is in the likeness and the rooted hair. With anime, it's a little bit more, the playing field's more level. So I think there's been a lot of criticism over our Chainsaw Man, which probably rightly so. So yeah, I don't think it's something we'll go deep in.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not a huge anime guy. I mean, I love Attack on Titan, but I wasn't a huge fan because you guys are so good about the realism. Like you make it so lifelike, hyper realistic figures. So when you make an anime figure, I don't know, it doesn't quite have the same hit for an InArt. You know what I mean? But that's my only concern with it. But Johnny, I have to ask you guys a really important question. People really want this question answered. Is InArt, I need you to answer unequivocally here, because is InArt refining the BVS Wonder Woman head sculpt? Because I've heard conflicting things. I've heard outright no from InArt. I've heard maybe we're working on it, maybe not. So can you tell us definitively, like, is it still being refined, or is this the head sculpt that collectors are getting, the one that's been shown?
So what do you think of the head sculpt? I will answer your question, but I want to hear what you think as well.
No, yeah. So here's what I think about the head sculpt. So I think that overall I like the head sculpt more than most people in the community seem to. I think it's actually pretty good. Do I think it's a 10 out of 10? No, I don't think it's one of InArt's best head sculpts. I think it's in middle of the pack for you guys. I think it's like right in the middle range where it's very good. It's very much clearly an InArt figure. But I do think with you guys, with how good your artists are, I think this could be improved a little bit. I think if you bring this back into the workshop, I think you could make it 15% better to really get it to that like upper echelon InArt head sculpt, like Paul Atreides or Arthur Fleck, or some of the Gandalf, some of the great ones. I think this one could be refined a little bit, and I think it could be all the better for it.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, Gal Gadot really is one of those where it's hard to sculpt.
Yeah. And
hard to get the likeness 100% on. I don't know why. There's just some actors and some characters that are like that. Whatever you do, it just doesn't seem 100% there. Right. So actually, I saw the prototype or this sample in Shanghai, and certain angles it looks dead on. Certain angles it doesn't. And we had the same issue with our life-size bust a few years ago. Infinity Studios had the same issue. J&D had the same issue with their 1/3, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Their 1/3, some angles look good, some angles it didn't. So I don't know what it is about the symmetry of the face. In terms of an official announcement, I don't think they'll officially say. I don't think Viper will officially say we are changing it. But what he will be doing, and what he has done, is we've captured all the comments and we've basically been sending them to him. And he'll be looking at that with his team and thinking, okay, what can we do? So I wouldn't write it off, but I don't think they're officially going to say it's changing. Gotcha. But it's definitely something that they're looking at.
Okay, and so definitely possible.
Yeah, yeah, and I think with Justin's video, Justin made a video as well, which upset some people. That bought it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so basically that was a bit of a miscommunication there. They sent something too early, and Justin always films it out of the box, and it probably wasn't ready. So they did some work on it to show the different figure at Wonder Festival. So that looked a lot better. But officially, we won't be saying, but unofficially, they're definitely looking at it.
Okay, so they're definitely looking at it. So expect at minimum. I mean, I'd say for anyone who pre-orders this, just expect to see what you get. And if you get something even better, fantastic. But I think from what you're saying, it's not a guarantee that this improves. I think it's already pretty good. I'm going to be honest. I'm not the biggest Wonder Woman guy, but I look at this and I say this already. And I think once people get it in hand, Johnny, every figure in hand is better. And you see it in hand, you're like, wow, I was way more critical of this than it actually, deserved in hand. So,
yeah. I think most of the time, unless everyone's like Vipers has spent some time with him in San Diego, he's a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. When people say, oh, this is great, this is awesome, I think he relaxes a little bit. When people have little criticisms, there's always thinking. If you look at Malfoy, we've started to rework Malfoy again. We've done it on a lot of figures, so it's not like other companies where they just the prototype to the final product drops. Ours usually improves a little bit, so you can expect some tweaks on here.
Yeah, I think so too. There's been very, very few InArt figures where I felt like there was a little bit of a drop. Maybe Aragorn being one of them, because Aragorn prototype was like literal perfection. I mean, and the final product's still very good, but it's not quite the prototype. But that's like, I think, the only InArt figure where I felt that way. Yeah, everything else is pretty much. We did get a super chat, by the way. Love how you captured Arnold's paleness in T1. Thank you so much, Kid Scraven. Yeah, I think you guys did get the skin tone right, as long as it matches the body. That's my only concern. But
yeah, a lot of concerns about the joints as well, and then the visible seams on the neck. all these things will be continue to work on. Like for these shows, we have a lot of figures to get ready in a short amount of time. So it's not always 100% perfect. It's more saying, this is what's coming up. This is what we're working on.
Yeah. And John, that is going to be 3 separate figures, right? So 2 different Arnolds. Each of those battle damage and standard are different figures, right? It's not like a pack where you change the outfits or something.
They haven't mentioned what that will be yet, but there will be more, definitely options for collectors for different different scenes, basically.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. It would make sense to me to be 2 entirely different figures, because I would think changing the outfits would be a huge pain for collectors. But I mean,
most likely, but I never say never. Sometimes they change at the last minute.
Yeah, you never know, exactly. And then, and it sounds like you guys are looking at the Tech Noir Arnold too for Terminator 1, because that outfit's pretty iconic also. So in the beginning of the film.
Yeah, it's another option we're looking at right now. But what we've shown is what they'll be most likely to be coming first.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we got another super chat real quick. Anarchy Bronze, what's next in the Fellowship 1/6? Gimli, I think you said Lord of the Rings is not on the immediate docket, right?
There won't be too much this year, but basically we're going deep in the line. Like if you look at the line plan, without talking too much more, we definitely have Boromir on there, which for me, I really want that one just so we can recreate the memes. And then
one does not simply. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I think if they don't do that in the
in the
pre-order announcement,
dude, oh my god, they got to do that. It's a failure if they don't do that. 100%.
Yeah, I'm hoping we do that, and then we're going deep in the line, so you can expect Gimli, you can expect Frodo, Sam, hopefully Pippin, and all the other guys. Hopefully.
Okay, is Gandalf going to be made?
Gandalf. Possibly, we're still looking at that. We'll probably start early on the Fellowship from the first movie, and we'll be going deep. The thing is, it's timing, right?
Yeah.
All of these figures, because of the detail, and especially with Lord of the Rings, the fan base is very enthusiastic and know a lot about the movies. So we're spending a lot of time to make sure that we're capturing those details, so we're not reworking like after the pre-order or after the announcement.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Ben Allen, super chat, thanks so much, bro. Will you be making Michonne from The Walking Dead? Is there Walking Dead plans for a line?
We've got these 3 so far. If these 3 do well, we can go deeper. But these are initial 3 in our contract, and then we'll look at renewals later on that.
Yeah,
and if people,
my thought.
Yeah, if people really like the line, the best thing to do is buy, and that encourages us to invest in it more. But then if there's more characters they want, like Glenn, for example, Michonne, let us know. Like, share more comments, keep active in the group, email us, and we'll use this information to help us plan a bit, essentially.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, let's keep it moving, guys. We have another question here. Johnny, I got to ask you the question. I don't know if you can't speak for the entire company of InArt, but I'm wondering how you guys view competition. So obviously, the most direct comparisons that most collectors make are to Hot Toys and J&D when you talk about InArt. A lot of us live streams, videos, reviews, previews, whatever, we're comparing those 3 companies primarily. Some people just Hot Toys and InArt. Does this competition at all influence like what types of figures and which characters InArt chooses to produce? And are the stakes higher? Like, say, because you and Hot Toys have gone head to head a few times now. And, I feel like more often than not, just being honest about it, I feel like you guys come out on top. Depends who makes the figure first. And like, for example, you guys made the Heath Ledger Joker, and then Hot Toys came in, which I feel like they did it a little bit better because they did it after you guys. And that happens both ways. But does that change things about how InArt strategizes at all? Like knowing that there's going to be, competition between the companies?
Competition, in our opinion, is very good. We want the competition because it basically, it makes us better and it makes a better product. That's the ultimate truth. The issue is it's not a level playing field, because the way licensing works is there's certain areas we can't sell directly to, and that handicaps us a little bit. But in terms of manufacturing, creating the products, I think we're very good, and we like to see what other people do, and it encourages us to improve ourselves in general anyway. So on our side, it's really important to have the competition because it keeps us going, basically. In terms of what do they do, does it affect us? Not really, because the line plans are secret. So no company will tell you. And these line plans are worked out 2 years in advance, most of the time. So when we sell stuff at the same time, it can be coincidence. Or if it's around a movie, for example, Superman.
Yeah.
The best time to release Superman was around the time of the movie dropped. So that's where we'll generally be going head to head. Most of the times we won't be going head to head, but it'll be DC that most companies will be competing on, and then a little bit Harry Potter.
Right.
But yeah, that's how it is. But in general, the competition aspect, we enjoy that.
Okay, so I guess the only time it influences things is when you guys are going after the same licenses, and then
yeah,
yeah,
that's when it gets annoying. That's the part of competition that I don't like, is where we go up for a license and like, oh, you can't do that because they've taken it, or you can't sell in this region because they sell there.
Yeah,
that's when it gets a little bit frustrating, because it's the monopolizing in a different way. When it's head to head, that's really good.
Right. Do some of the licensors, are they more open to saying like you guys can both sell in the same territory? Or is it pretty common for them to say one company per territory?
So this is the part that I think collectors don't know about, and it gets really complicated.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, the bigger licensors want to have regional partners. So I think this is a question later down the line. Do we only sell in Asia? We've got licenses in like Australia, New Zealand, APAC, basically, so Asia Pacific, and we want to expand into Europe, North America, but their opinion is we've got partners there. We don't want to eat into our own business as it is. So that's the general feeling amongst most licenses. Sometimes, I think almost all of them work like that now. Sometimes they'll be a bit more open to it, where a bit of competition if we can differentiate on price point or materials. But most of the time, if there's a partner there already, then they're not that. They don't really want to have someone encroach on that business. Okay. So for like Dune, we were lucky. We got in there early, and we've been able to get global just because we're early. There is another company from China that makes them, but they've got the China license. So that just didn't work out for them, but it worked out for us. So that's just generally how it works.
Okay. So are there going to be more Dune figures to come, you think, with that property?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there will be. Yeah.
Okay. Is that something maybe in 2026 or later, you think?
Yeah, we'll be looking to release more around the time of the new movie. We're still working. I think the contracts are pretty much done. We're still working on the characters, and we want to. I think the Dune 2 was awesome. So I think, and the whole team loved it. So I think they want to put more effort into there.
Well, you know how people have been asking for the blue-eyed Paul Atreides for a while. Like it's it's a very similar figure. It's just blue eyes, which is I have the InArt figure and I put a custom set of blue eyes in there, and it's works great for me. But I think it'd be cool to see the other characters in the film that I think would be pretty awesome. Austin Butler's character. That character would be awesome. What was it? What's his name again? Fayed? I forget.
Yeah, I can't remember. Fayed, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but that dude, Dune 2 was amazing, dude. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. But we did get a super chat real quick. It's about BVS Batfleck, it sounds like. Will you guys have a 2-pack with Batfleck's civilian outfit as an option? It'd be a shame to leave that head sculpt in the box.
They haven't mentioned yet. I could look into that. Yeah, they didn't really say.
Yeah, I would think not. I think it's probably just going to be, it sounds like it's just going to be the Batman, the Batfleck Batman.
I think there have been times where we've done the 2. I'm not sure. I know we've done it in the statues, right? So
yeah,
the sculpting aspect of that will be quite easy to do. Well, not easy, but it's doable, right? So on all the tailoring and stuff.
Pattinson, you did it with Bruce Wayne and Batman. Yeah.
We've done it before, but I haven't seen anything particularly in the plans on that. But maybe I missed it. I'll have to follow up.
Okay, so I would say maybe don't expect it, but it's possible. Yomo, any updates you can give on a Matrix line?
No updates as of yet. It's in the plan. It won't be this year. If it's coming, it'll be sometime in the second half of next year, but no updates as of yet.
Dude, Matrix.
I don't know why. I think Matrix would be awesome, to be honest.
It's the original Matrix, right? Matrix 1?
Yeah, so we did work on a Matrix figure from is it Matrix 4? The one that I didn't watch it.
Yeah, the terrible one, the new one. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't comment on how good it was because I didn't see it, but
Yeah.
we did work on a figure at that time, and then the feedback for the movie wasn't good, so we dropped it basically. And that's when I was pushing for us to do John Wick because we could have used a similar head sculpt, but unfortunately that didn't go through either.
Dude, come on. That would have been absolutely amazing. I was telling you guys at SDCC, I was like, John Wick and The Boys. Those are the two that I recommend. But, you know.
Unfortunately, Blitzway, I think Blitzway, someone did The Boys, right?
Blitzway license, but they haven't announced anything officially yet. I think they did they showed like a proto, I think, at a con, but we've seen no products yet from them.
Right, maybe that's worth following up on them because I know that they worked on that.
Yeah,
but I didn't know if we don't want to. So the other thing with competition, if the market's not big enough for DC, it is. But for some, if it's not big enough, sometimes we can just leave it and then come back later if we can do something special.
Yeah. Well, we got another super chat here. Ben Cave, thanks so much, bro. Nightmare Batman, is that still in the pipeline? Nightmare 1/6.
Yes, that's definitely in there.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so there's the Batfleck normal suit, and then there's the Nightmare suit as well. Okay.
Yeah, the Nightmare one in particular, they're working on the coat. They want to get the materials and the coat, like I don't know what the name of that like overcoat is, but they're working on that in particular because they want to get everything spot on. I think the Nightmare just looks pretty cool.
Nice, dude. That's gonna be sick. And Kevin, thank you so much, bro. Could we expect a Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings down the line, like one of the orcs? Is that possible?
Yeah, that's possible, but not immediately. They're working on the Fellowship first, and then they'll probably be secondary to that.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so the line could go real deep then. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, next year's I think the 30th anniversary of the movies, right? So
yeah, right.
So we'll have more the time around that as well, and I hope it goes back in the theaters again because it's awesome on the big screen. So we'll see more next year.
Because I'm trying to think, the Fellowship of the Ring was 2001, so we're at about almost 25 years. I think it'll be 25 years next year, right? Yeah.
There's some big celebration next year.
Dude,
to do with
that would be huge.
Yeah.
So if you guys do a bunch of announcements, then that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome. Well, Johnny, I have to ask you the question because InArt has received some negative feedback on prototype figures. I think, we've gotten into this somewhat before, but not, too deep into the weeds on this one. But just some of the stuff like Daenerys, and we just talked about Catwoman and BVS Batman and stuff like that. How does InArt actually use this feedback? Because, some in the community have been somewhat critical, I guess I would say, over the, prototype figures that have shown that sometimes seem like they're not ready. And it's questionable insofar as people will be like, does InArt think this is actually ready and they need feedback to tell them it's not? Or is it a matter of just like, you guys just want to throw it out there and say, this is something we're working on, get excited. And sometimes it backfires. So do you guys use this feedback from these prototypes a lot to refine the product pretty early in the process?
Yeah, there's an element of that. There's an element of all of that, really. I think one of the frustrations from a lot of 1/6 collectors when we first came around is we'd show early concept designs, we'd show work in progress designs, and then we'd show early samples and then early prototypes before the pre-order. And a lot of 1/6 collectors weren't very used to that, so they felt like, oh, it's bait and switch, or you're just hyping us up for no reason, all that kind of thing. And that's because originally the team are more from the statue. The original team's more from the statue industry, and they have a lot of more people involved in figures now. They've built the team out. But ultimately, I'd agree with the collectors if we weren't really making changes and we weren't making good products.
Right.
But I think we've been doing this 3 years now, and hopefully we've proved that we put out what we think is the best. And if it's not the best, with Wonder Woman, we'll listen to you. And we've done that consistently. I know the pace of schedule hasn't been a lot. It's been maybe 8 to 10 new pre-orders a year. Mm-hmm. But we're working hard to make high quality figures because times are hard. There's another question about tariffs and the budgets are tight. So generally we want to put out what we think is the best. For events in particular, we're putting out stuff to show people what's coming, not this is it now, this is not ready now. But that's also a perfect time to get feedback, and we do listen to that feedback. So on one hand, people can get upset about it, which is up to them if they want to get upset. But this is the perfect chance to say what's missing and tell us what you want.
Yeah.
Like on one hand, the community says we want you to listen to us, and then on the other hand, they get upset if it's shown and it's not ready. Well,
you know how it goes.
Yeah, so which is what it is. But ultimately, we're showing what's coming up, and we want to get that feedback. Like, there's going to be some changes before these figures go up for pre-order, and now is the time to let us know what we've missed, what you think, what changes we can make. The head sculpts will change, but if there's any other details, accessories, stuff like that, let us know.
The one thing I will say too, Johnny, in defense, like seeing these in person is just entirely different. And I will say the lighting at these conventions is extremely harsh. Like it's just, you guys do the best you can. You set up Moji cases or whatever you can to have great displays, but it just convention lighting. It's the nature of it. It's different than being in a studio taken by a professional photographer. Like it's not going to look as good or the same as the prototype in the like professional, announcement pics. Like it's going to look different. And that's why, like, Daenerys, I'm sure it looks great in person. I'm sure it can still be better. Don't get me wrong. But I'm sure under this harsh convention lighting, it looks like shit. But it doesn't in person.
Well, look at the lighting on that photo. It's not exactly top notch.
Super flattering. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the issue, is that convention lighting is something they're constantly working on. How do we improve it?
Right.
And even if we get it right, someone might come along with an iPhone 5 and then take a photo and share it online, and that's the photo everyone gravitates to. It's just
the potato.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. And like even with and I said I think Catwoman. You might be right, a little bit pale. I think the Catwoman's still pretty good. I do hope you guys make it even better, but I like it. I mean, the Batfleck, I think that could use some work, but I think Catwoman is still pretty good as is. Daenerys, I'm super excited for Daenerys. Can't wait.
Yeah, Daenerys looks pretty good actually in person. The tailoring on the clothing is amazing, and I think that's what they're still working on as well. But Catwoman, I think the goggles would, I think they're called goggles. They would change this head sculpt a little bit. I think it would make it a little bit better, in my opinion. But generally, I think Catwoman's going to get there, and that's the reason why this has been delayed 3 or 4 times already. Yeah. Catwoman was supposed to be up for pre-order in August, but they're still working on the figure, on the head sculpt. They want to make sure we get it right.
Gotcha. And Daenerys, is there going to be changes to the outfit at all for her, or is it going to be what you see here?
They've not really said yet. Daenerys is later down the line, so there probably will be changes, but they've not announced anything in particular. We've got a lot of things before then which we're putting our time and attention on. So the artists will be working on this behind the scenes.
Cool. Well, we got a super chat from Sergeant Sal Collects. Thanks so much, bro. How long does it take for an item to ship after the invoice is paid? I've been waiting for 13 days now. Is that normal?
Well, there's probably a lot of follow-on questions to that. Yeah, for example, maybe you can DM me after this or send me an email. Yeah. Basically, we want to know what product it is, because I don't know what the shipping method was. Usually 10 days by air, if we ship it that way. Then there's the problem right now is that the tariff announcements and all this causes a lot of delays on the custom side. That's where they weren't delays last year. So, for example, since they've introduced the tariffs, they were announced out of nowhere. And as you've seen on the news, like one day they'd say UPS or USPS, United States Postal Service, has stopped taking all orders from Hong Kong, or to stop doing all this. So there's some aspects that are out of our control. It should have shipped. If it hasn't, message for your tracking code and they should get you that and you can track it. But there will be delays along the supply chain, especially towards the US.
Gotcha. Well, we got a super chat here. Roll me one Kenobi. Love that username. Any other Snyderverse characters in the making? There's Nightmare Batman. Is there anything else from that line?
There's not too much more being said. Those two are the immediate figures coming up. Yeah, not too much more has been said about that.
Okay. Any gaming characters like Devil May Cry or Red Dead Redemption 2? The Wukong line is fire, apparently. Yeah, I love the Wukong line too.
I think if we do gaming, we'll be going down to 1/12 scale. Just because I think there is a gaming audience, like you've mentioned it a few times, like God of War, that you'd like. But the way that the licensing works is that usually we've got to pay big money for the licenses.
Gotcha.
And you need to get enough people behind it. I don't think the 1/6 community is big enough for gaming, but 1/12's more likely. So I think we'd probably be looking at 1/12.
Okay, so 1/12 for gaming. Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Well, let's see here. We had another super chat from Carlos, and we'll move to our next question. Not a question, but I would love to see Men in Black, Kill Bill, 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Mask, The Thing. Let's make it happen. Yeah, those would all be cool.
Didn't someone do the Ninja Turtles and showed it at New York Comic Con?
I think, wasn't it Mondo? I think Mondo did it. Yeah, I think
so. Yeah.
I think it was them. Yeah, they showed it recently at 1/6, right? From what I remember.
Yeah. Because I've been pushing for that, but they don't want to do it because they feel like it's similar to the anime thing, right? Where it's not about the head sculpt, it's not about the details that we've got. But I thought it'd be cool for us to do. But we won't be doing Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, no, that'd been cool. But some of the other ones like Kill Bill would be pretty cool.
Kill Bill would be awesome. We keep asking for that, but unfortunately, I think Kill Bill's originally, I think that's a Weinstein company.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
And a lot of his companies, there's like a lot of uncertainty around how all licensing, who owns the rights, all that kind of stuff. I might be wrong on that, but we asked a few people on Kill Bill and they said it's just complicated right now.
Interesting. Okay. Well, Johnny, is InArt planning to complete figure lines like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Terminator in 2026 and move on to other franchises? And how many figures is InArt looking to complete per line, just in general, would you say?
Lord of the Rings. The thing is with Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter is they go deep in terms of character depth, right? And Harry Potter in particular could go on forever. So to say when we finish, it's difficult, but we will go as deep as necessary and we will work on the lines. Lord of the Rings is very similar. There's 3 movies and there's lots of people in the movies and a lot of people, and because of the books, there's a lot of favorite characters. We'd probably be looking at 12 to 15, maybe if we can, maybe 20 figures next year. I think 15, I'd say 12 on the lower end, 15 we could be comfortable, 20 would be on the high end. That's the range that we're looking at right now. So to finish and complete and move on, I don't think we could do that based on our current line plans. But I think around 20 is where we'd have to get to next year.
Gotcha.
to keep up the pace. And then with Terminator, we'll start with these 3 and then see where we go from there.
Gotcha. Yeah, that would be an uptick for you guys. I mean, 15 to 20 figures, that would be great. I have to look back at how many you've announced this year, but I don't think it's been 15 from my memory.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think by the end of the year, we should have around 12. I can't remember.
Okay.
Because we're working on a lot of projects right now, but
yeah,
we could be at around 12 by the end of the year.
I did create this graphic about the things you've released and announced. So it's probably about that if we counted these up, but that's pretty awesome though, dude. 15 to 20, 12 to 20 figures, I guess, next year. That would be great. The reason I asked that question is because, people who don't want those lines, like what else would be in store,
Yeah, there will be new stuff coming down the pipeline as well. And I think there's another question about like markets where they can buy and stuff like that.
Yes.
But one thing we've basically been working on is just improving the speed of releases. So, for example, Legolas started shipping on time. Nazgul should be ready now. A lot of our figures have been a lot quicker than the first year and the second year, right? So that part, we're starting to get that down now. What we need to do now is work on decreasing the time between like the batch, basically, and work on that kind of stuff. But that's challenging, especially with the current tariff environment and the way logistics work.
Gotcha.
Like to get things out quicker.
We did get a super chat, Johnny, from Uncle Ben, Rice's nephew. Will the Destin 1/12 scale figure ship soon? Do you know about that?
Yes, it will. Yeah, that should be ready in the next month.
Okay, nice. That's going to be exciting. So thank you so much, Uncle Ben. Brandon T. Valera, thank you so much, bro. Any chance of Zack Snyder's Justice League figures or at least black suit version of InArt BVS Superman?
Yeah, there's a chance, but I don't know what the time frame would be. We're looking at more DC next year as well.
Okay, so Black Suit Superman could happen, but just not necessarily.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah, it's just not necessarily announced, or I don't know the plans for that one just yet.
Gotcha. Okay, we got a super chat. Anthony Andreas, thanks so much, bro. It's very generous. Will other AMC shows get figures? Will Makima from Chainsaw Man still be released? Is Morphig going to focus on original IP? Keep up the great work.
More AMC shows. We'd like to get people's opinions on that. What else would be worth doing?
Breaking Bad, dude. Breaking Bad. That's
yeah. We've asked about Breaking Bad actually, but that one's a hard one to get the rights for the likeness. We wanted to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because it's really popular over here.
Yeah.
Other shows would be interested in learning more. The Chainsaw Man, even though it's not our most popular line, we'll still make it, still release. That's all going to plan in that aspect. And then for InArt, like own IP for 112, the name Morphig was used a few years ago, and I think there was some confusion about like, how do we brand our 112.
Yeah.
So how they're looking at it now is InArt is 1/6 and 112, and what makes those different is that InArt is mostly about the realism in the head sculpts, but also in 112 having the articulation, human articulation. So it does everything you want from a 112 figure. For Morphig, which is the other name, that will be focusing on our original IPs. So we did the blank bodies at Wonder Festival, which you can buy now, quite cheap, around $15. And that's just our first run with Morphig. They're also working on a 1/64 scale, fully articulated.
Wow.
So they're tiny, and there's hundreds of them, and they've got big monsters and big sets, and they're made of PVC, I think, or ABS, I can't remember. And you can fully pose it, fully articulate, and they've got magnets in the feet, so you can put them into the base. So Morphig's doing some interesting stuff as well. So that
sounds pretty cool, actually. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, have you heard of or played Warhammer before?
I've heard of it, but I've not played it. I know a lot of guys out there play it, though. I've been told.
Yeah, it's big in the UK. I think Henry Cavill's into it. Okay. Basically, Warhammer, they'd go into a store and you can paint your own characters. And then you can put it onto like this big table, and they've got grass and like lakes, and then you have like battles and stuff like that. We could create something similar, but with posable figures in 1/64 scale. So that's what they're working on for Morphig.
Dude, that would be cool. Carlos asked a super chat real quick. Black Suit Superman, like we said. Thanks so much to Carlos. I think that one, not an immediate plans, like you said, but maybe in the future. So let's see. S Kits Craven, thanks so much. Will T1 be limited, or will I not? Usually, Johnny, it's like what, 30 days for a pre-order window, something like that.
Yeah, we don't limit our figures because we can route the hair at mass, relative mass, right? As long as it's not crazy numbers.
Not like 50,000 units, but yeah.
Yeah. We don't really limit in terms of this is what we're going to make. I think there are benefits to that. It gets people hyped up and everyone rushes to buy. But we just announce you've got 30 days and we just do the typical pre-order model. Where it's traditional pre-order model, meaning if we sell 100, we'll make 100. If we sell 1,000, we make 1,000. If we sell 10,000, we make 10,000. We don't make anything beyond that what was pre-ordered. We just don't announce the numbers, and we don't have a set limit. So certain products like Thorin, Gandalf, that didn't really have a massive uptake in the beginning, they'll do well in the secondary market just because we won't speculate later.
Yeah, makes sense. We got a super chat here from Nick. I'll answer real quick. We finished the Fellowship. Yes, I think Johnny said yes, they're going to do Fellowship. That's something they're working on. So thank you so much, Nick. So Johnny, I got to ask you this real quick. Is InArt choosing licenses with a worldwide market in mind, or is the Asian market the priority? Because, I know collectors really want to buy direct InArt if they can. There are other retailers out there like 1/6 Kit that, a lot of us recommend and use very successfully. Kit has been great to many of us. But I know people do sometimes like buying direct, particularly for cheaper prices and just, ease when it comes to, quality control issues and things like that. So is it going to be is there going to be more worldwide licenses moving forward? What are your thoughts on that?
If it was up to us, we'd all be worldwide. but it's not up to us. So the US, in terms of collector base, and if you look at all of our metrics in terms of who's visiting our website, who's following our social media, the US is the biggest chunk outside of China. China, you don't really include because it's got its own ecosystem. It's got its own social media. It's got its own e-commerce platforms. The rest of the world, how we categorize it, is every other country in the world because they've got access to Facebook, Instagram, all those different things. Outside of China, our biggest market should be US. The only thing that's stopping us is licensing. So when we pursue a new license like The Walking Dead, if the US is not on the table, a lot of the time we'll leave that new license. So we are looking for global. Asia at the moment is easier for us to get those licenses and build out from for the big IPs. So that's why we've started that way.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so worldwide licenses are a priority. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
good.
That's our priority, but it's not always doable for the big franchises.
Okay, because sometimes again, there's competition that already have that license, and it can be definitely challenging. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I know, like I said, the worldwide licenses are something that are really appealing to collectors. But we did get a super chat from Mozio. Will Corn Sweat Superman still undergo suit updates? The shoulder piping is still wrong. Thanks so much. Is that getting any refinements right now?
No one's really mentioned that. I think from the feedback we've got, the figure was pretty good. I think most people were happy. So we haven't had much feedback around that, but I'll look into it and see if it's worth sharing a post.
Yeah, before
Brazil
said it. But I think it looks pretty good. I really do like the Hot Toys one as well, but I think you guys will refine it and make it really good. So I'm very happy with that. Let's see. Ben Allen said, "Will you be revisiting the Dune line to make Shawnee? Is that something that's happening?"
Yeah. That's one of the figures that we'll be working on, as well as the Austin Butler character that we can't pronounce the name of. We are. Yeah.
Fade Rutha, isn't that? Yeah, Fade Rutha Harkonnen. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we are working on those characters. Yeah.
Okay, that would be super cool. That'd be super cool. We get another super chat from Miss AJ the Collector. Thank you so much. Will you ever make the Suicide Squad line? Since James Gunn leads DC and Peacemaker will probably appear in Man of Tomorrow in 2027. Any Suicide Squad plans?
No plans as of yet, but I think that's one later down the line we do, because I think it's probably a bit of we missed the boat in terms of like the peak, but the true fan base. The true fan base would still be there. So I think it's something we do later down the line. We've got a really busy schedule. Like I said, we've got maybe 20 products next year. Mm-hmm. So fitting all these in is the issue. It's not what we don't want to do. It's what we can realistically do and keep the quality high.
Right.
That we want to keep the quality high.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, we got one from Assistant to the Regional Sith. Thanks so much, bro. Will there be more things from Superman? Any interest in doing Catwoman from Batman Returns? Because Superman 2020 is it just Corn?
Yeah, I'm just reading.
Is that it, you think, for that line?
Yeah, for now. Yeah, for now, I think so.
Okay.
I don't think we'll be going much deeper in that line, to be honest. Is there any interest in doing Catwoman from Batman Returns? Maybe, again, that'll be later down the line. At the moment, what we've shown is what we're working on. And I think Christopher Reeve's Superman would be the newer figure outside of
Jazz Inc. is doing that Catwoman already, so it's
yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not sure if it's something we'd look at, but I know that it's very popular character, especially US based. So I think if we did like Batman Returns, any of the earlier Batman, we want to do it mostly for the US market if we could get that license, because it's just not as popular in Asia, because at that time cinema wasn't as developed as it is now.
Well, what about this one? Uriel C. Thanks so much. InArt planning on making Voldemort?
Probably, yes, but not in the next 9 to 12 months. But there will be a Voldemort, most likely.
Gotcha.
Like we've got Dumbledore next, probably.
Yeah, 1/6 Lord of the Rings, How Deep Saruman, Witch King, Galadriel. Because Witch King, I think, would be super cool. That's doable, I think. Sauron, I know, is huge, so that one's trickier.
Yeah, I don't know what we'd do with Sauron, but we're going deep in Lord of the Rings. So, yeah, we're going deep.
Okay.
So no need to worry about it.
Witch King, Galadriel, all those could be in the running then. for sure.
Could be. Yeah, we're working on some other stuff behind the scenes to make the figures even better. Just it's a long process, unfortunately, because of licensing, IP, copyrights, all those things. Difficult, but we're hoping Lord of the Rings becomes like our flagship IP.
Nice. Well, I heard that about Game of Thrones from you guys last time, and I hope that Game of Thrones commitment is still there because I need those games.
It's there. It's there. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get there.
I get asked about that, Johnny, all the time, and I know I'm the biggest proponent of the Game of Thrones line. Again, I've had this display case ready for it, and I've just been waiting. But you probably won't make a Drogon, right? Like it's probably just going to be 1/6, like Jon Snow, Daenerys, stuff like that.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you make a Drogon, that would be wild. That'd be absolutely wild. That'd be massive. That'd be like a Queen Studios thing, but that'd be pretty crazy. Blade Runner 2049, Johnny, is there any plans for that? I would doubt it, but
no plans, no.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I would think no, but thank you so much, Santiago. Yomo, are there any plans for 1/6 Bruce Lee?
Yes, so 1/6 Bruce Lee will be ready early next year, hopefully. The thing we've been working on is the seamless joints because he's got the pose without the top, right? From I think I always mix up the names. I can't remember if it's Fist of Fury or Game of Death, but he's got the one where he's got the black like karate pants on, and then we've got the yellow jumpsuit as well. So those two are coming up next year.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Let's see. So let's see. Myron, thanks so much. How deep is the Harry Potter line, years 1 through 7? I guess it'd be pretty deep, right?
So yeah, that one, that's what I was talking about earlier. Essentially, with Harry Potter, we're starting on what Americans would refer to as the Sorcerer's Stone, and in England, it's called the Philosopher's Stone. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But basically, we'll be working on that one first, and then we'll start developing other characters a little bit later. How deep we go in the later movies, I'm not sure. I know we'd probably have like another Harry as he ages up. A Sirius Black would be cool. There's loads you can do. I don't know how deep we'll go later in the movies, but we're starting with the Sorcerer's Stone,
nice,
and then building up from there.
Okay. Well, I have a question real quick, Johnny. So how is InArt planning to deal with the tariff situation? So I'll get rid of this super chat real quick and bring this up real fast because I'm wondering like how is that before I know the announcement was made that InArt was going to be mostly consuming most of the tariffs, absorbing that's the word. And collectors wouldn't have to pay anything, but this is a very fluid situation. And if the tariffs get too high, are there any plans for InArt to pass that along to collectors, or how is that working?
So to be honest, the whole thing's an absolute nightmare for everyone involved.
It is
because it changes constantly, and the reality of the situation is that it's easy to announce we're doing 100% tariffs, 200%, 300%. The problem is the how do you get all of the like the ports and all of the people administrating it? Like the policy that quick is too challenging. So it's very difficult to give a straight answer because no matter who you talk to in whatever industry it is, not just collectibles, people just don't know. The reality is we can absorb most of the tariffs, and there's ways to keep it relatively low anyway. So it won't. When you see 100%, it doesn't mean the figure's price or the shipping cost is going to increase 100%. It could be like 20 to 30%. And if we can take the hit, we'll take some of that hit. But you might see, I think Sideshow do like a $20 tariff charge, right? Something like that.
It's like a percentage, I think, or something like that. It's like 9% or something along those lines. Yeah, I mean, it's not nothing. It's not insignificant. So, but it's relatively minor compared to what they're probably paying. So
yeah, so that's what's happening is we're absorbing the costs, and we'll continue to do what we can to lower that to you guys, to the consumer, to the customers in the US.
Right.
112, it's not going to be a big issue. Not a big problem because the product price is relatively low anyway. And once you ship by container, for example, the value of the items already lower. There's different ways it's a whole logistics debate essentially. So to make it a little shorter, it's very difficult for us to give you a straight answer because last week there was no 100% tariff, and now there's an announcement, and it might cover some products but not all. This is what's also confusing. It could cover certain HS codes, for example. So we'll do our best to make it as low cost to you guys as possible.
Cool. Well, we got a super chat from Ben. Thank you so much, bro. I think I speak for many collectors in saying we need 1/6 video game figures. Last of Us, Mass Effect, Fallout, 1/6 figures are untapped market. I know, like you said, though, you think 1/12 would be the move for video games for you guys.
Yeah, that's where we'd probably start. If we see there's demand for 1/6, we could look at it and do some experimentation if we can negotiate with the licenses later down the line. But we'd probably start with 1/12 and see how that goes.
Yeah, and Chris asked a similar question. Chris, thank you so much, bro. Any chance for any PlayStation characters like Kratos, Jin Sakai? Sounds like 1/12 would be the move again if you guys did it.
Yeah, but you've seen our 1/12, right? The details we can get are pretty good. It's not like it was a long time ago. Like, we can get really good quality. So if you're a gamer, then you can still move down. And then if we think that there is a demand, we can also look at 1/62.
Dude, that would be incredible. So a Sauron or Dark Knights, Ra's al Ghul. Is there any chance for either of those, Johnny, for InArt?
There's nothing in the pipeline for the next year. So if it would probably be after 2026.
Yeah. Because for me, even if you do a Sauron statue, I think that would still be pretty cool. I mean, I know it would be pricey because he's so big. That's the problem, but
we did the horse, right, for the ring wraith.
Yes.
So like doing bigger characters in a more static's doable, and we work on statues anyway. So for us, it'd be really easy. Not easy, but it's just something we could do quite comfortably.
Right. Queen Studios, are they doing any Doctor Doom pieces for Doomsday? Is there anything with the Marvel license going on?
The Marvel license in particular right now is challenging, but we're going to work on that. Hopefully it's something we can return to later. Hopefully in time for the movie, but nothing as of yet.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, Bruce Wayne, Batfleck, J Shot is saying that we need that. So maybe like you said, it'll be a 2-pack. I would say right now it sounds unlikely, but it's possible, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look at the line plan again. But what we've shown is what we're definitely going to do. So I'd have to look at the line plan on the Bruce Wayne.
Okay, Austin Collects, thanks so much. Do we know when BVS Batman will be out for PO? Still 3 versions coming for him. That's probably next year, right?
Yeah, most likely next year. It won't be this year.
Right. Gotcha. I forget what you said. Anything Q4 coming this year from what we said? Maybe Catwoman, right? Possibly.
So Catwoman, Daryl from The Walking Dead should be Q4. Christopher Reeve Superman, and maybe a couple more. But those are the 3 key ones that we show at the event.
Okay. Gotcha. And this one said, that guy Mark, thanks so much. Queen, please get the Marvel license back. Yeah, I know the Marvel license is tricky, like you said. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Well, thank you so much, Mark. Let's see, Jon Snow coming soon. Yeah, Jon Snow would be great coming soon. That would be great. That's probably Jon next year at the earliest, I would say.
Yeah, it would be next year. Jon Snow and Daenerys are in our line plan, and it's definitely something we're working on. So that's not going anywhere. It just won't be this year.
Gotcha. Is there any plans along for House of the Dragon with Game of Thrones? I think you probably start with Game of Thrones first, right?
We'll start with Game of Thrones first, and then take it from there.
Okay, gotcha. Cormac, thank you so much for Ben Allen. Let's see what he had to say. Thank you so much. I live in Spain and I bought the Black Myth Wukong directly from InArt. Will I have to pay VAT on this package when it arrives? I don't know about
that. For that one, yeah, I'm not sure. Because I'm not involved in that part as much. Europe's different to US. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll charge VAT when it gets to the port, and they'll charge it to the customer. So they'll call them and say, oh, you need to pay VAT. A lot of the time, what we'll try to do is deliver something called DDP, delivery duty paid, and we'll try and deliver it all that way. So just double check, send the customer service team an email, and they'll be able to confirm 100%.
Gotcha. Well, guys, so we're running out of time. We're going to try to get through as many of these super chats as possible. So try not to send any more super chats if you can. I don't want anyone's money to go to waste. So I'm going to try to, we'll rapid fire through these. Johnny, James, thanks so much. What outfit will Jon Snow be in? The Stark armor? Is there any definitive plans for that?
I've not seen the concepts, so I can't answer that one. But all I know is Jon Snow's been written down on our plan, and I know Jon Snow's coming. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think they'll probably end up being 2 versions. You'll probably do a Night's Watch one and probably a Stark armor one would be my speculation. But that's
probably
that makes sense. Michonne from The Walking Dead. Thanks so much, Adam. He did answer that one. No current plans for Walking Dead beyond the 3, but you would consider it if they sell well, right?
Yeah, we're going to see how these first 3 go, and then we'll go back to the licensor and say what's our options for renewal, and then we can look.
Okay.
So that now's the time to vote with your wallet, and then also let us know what you want as well.
Yeah, Seth, thanks so much. Harry Potter adult trio. Are you guys doing the adult Harry Potter characters?
What do you mean adult?
Like, so like you guys have done the kid versions, like maybe the later films where they grow up. Like,
yeah, they're still teenagers though, right? But yeah,
but yeah,
I think the last, I can't remember all the names. I should know this being English, but yeah, we should get there eventually, but it depends. Right now, we're working on the younger characters. Maybe a second Harry Potter from, I forgot the name of the second one, either Azkaban or something like that.
Okay, so Sergeant Sal, thanks so much. Any chance for Halo figures in 1/12 or 1/6? Probably be 1/12, but are there any plans for that?
Nothing for Halo just yet, but if we did, it would be 1/12.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, let's move on. Gail, thanks so much, bro. Would you consider adding the season 5 brown jacket for Rick? So I forget what the suit's called, murder suit or something like that. Lots of fans have expressed interest in that one.
I think Riley messaged us about this. Riley wants that too.
Yeah.
As of now, not yet. But it's something we can look at.
Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you so much for that one. Nick Martelli, thank you so much. Will you finish the Fellowship? Yes, John did answer that one. Fellowship is going to get made. I know you said Boromir is in the plan, so it's that's going to be awesome. So, Carlos, thanks so much, bro. Can't Morphig be used to fill in the demand for 1/6? Mondo's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures were jointed and based on the cartoon, not the 90s movies. We'd love to see animated and video game figures from you guys.
It could be. I could bring that up. It'd be a good idea to separate it, and then we could look at like TMNT.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's a good idea. I'll bring that one up with him.
Yeah, that would work. Nick Martelli, thanks so much. Are you exploring bodies with posable clavicles, i.e., second shoulder joint near the neck? I'm not a big articulation guy. I don't know if you know about that, but yeah.
Well, you also collect statues, though, right? So
that's true. I do, but and I'm not people have seen the poses on my shelf. It's a lot of it's not like a T pose, but it's like I give them a little bit of personality, but they're not like super dynamic.
Fully,
yeah.
Basically, we're always looking to improve, and I think what generally a lot of experimentation goes along the lines of the unlicensed figures. Those guys seem to experiment more because they don't pay any license fees, so they can take bigger risks than we can. So, for example, I think we showed for Terminator, you can turn on the eyes with something on the side of the head, right? I don't know if you saw that video. We're working on the rolling eyes now, where with the magnets, so you don't have to get the hand in the back or the finger in the back to move the levers. We're constantly looking at what the small iterations and changes. We can't say for sure this is what we'll do, because it has to be a lot of testing before we release it. But it's probably something that if we're not looking at now, we will look at some point.
Okay. Well, the Darth Knight, thanks so much. Is the Coin Sweat Superman seeing any updates before release? Is InArt taking the Hot Toys release as inspiration to improve it?
Nothing's been said. So if nothing's been said, they might make changes and just not tell us. But if it's a change, it's usually for the better. But yeah, nothing's been announced and nothing's been circulated in the company.
Because I think overall the feedback on that one's pretty good. Besides the closed eye head sculpt, maybe is like people see it as kind of not essential.
Yeah, that happens though. Like I think now and again there's certain expressions that work in like the American market, like certain expressions, and then the Asian market like certain expressions. So I think it could just be a difference in opinion, but I don't think we've got time to completely just do a new head sculpt or do another expression or face.
Gotcha. Well, Jeremy, thanks so much. Any news on OG Superman PO, and also could Stranger Things or Wicked be lines down the road? You said Christopher Reeve Superman is end of this year, right?
Yeah, all being well, end of this year.
Okay.
That's in the plan basically. So I'm hoping it'll be the end of this year. I think that'll be a big one, especially now they've updated the Clark Kent so that you can see the Superman suit underneath. I think that's a really good, nice touch.
There's two separate figures, right? There's a Clark Kent and a Superman.
Yeah. Yeah, Clark Kent and the Superman, but the Clark Kent has the suit underneath, so they can rip the chest open, and I think that's a good pose.
Dude, that was really cool.
Yeah.
That one's awesome. We got a super chat from Andrew Amick. Thanks so much. What about Professor Quirrell from Harry Potter? That's pretty deep. I don't know.
Yes, I don't know. He plays a significant part in the movie if you think about the whole, like, what role does he play? But he's just hardly in it. He's in it for like 5 minutes if you count the screen time. So I don't think we'll go to Quirrell.
Yeah, I forgot he was even in it, honestly. So, but I'm not the biggest Harry Potter guy, but still, that's a pretty deep cut right there. Nerdist Maximus, thanks so much. Is there any way to still get support for Gandalf? I had an issue, told support I couldn't do their fix. Now they say they have no staff to replace mine. Love your products. Can't wait for the future. I would say that released years ago. So I would assume probably not, right?
It's a little bit harder. Yeah, we'll definitely help where we can. Usually it's the after support would be more focusing on how can we help you fix it if it's something we don't have a replacement for. We don't have, like 3-4 years later, we don't always have the accessories and the replacements at that time. Maybe send an email to the customer service and just mention me, and I'll see what I can do to help, and see if we've got any spare prototypes knocking about where there's like some actually good quality accessories we can swap out or ship to you.
That'd be awesome. So Nerdist Maximus, definitely mention Johnny in the email that you send out and see what he can do. D'Angelo, thanks so much. Yo, came in to say, is there anything on House of Dragon to convince y'all to make Game of Thrones? Johnny said no, House of Dragon, Game of Thrones, maybe next year. I'm praying so. It's
yeah, so it will be made. It's just very difficult to say this is when. So, but House of Dragons not in the plans as of yet. We want to start with Game of Thrones first. So you can rest assured there will be a Daenerys, there will be a Jon Snow.
Okay.
I just can't say it will be at this date.
Yeah, sure. And you guys have the license already, so you're all good. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Get J Shot. Thanks so much. Once the Batman 2 is released, any plans to release an updated Batman figure? So I guess a Pattinson Part 2.
There's probably, we'll see what the new movie looks like. If there's changes to the suit, which there usually is, we'll probably look at that again.
Okay, gotcha. Because I know the first one was pretty popular from what I remember.
Yeah, the first ones, did well. And I think that I really like the movie, and I think a lot of people over here did. So I think there's enough support for that one over here. We're just waiting for the new movie to come out.
Yeah, Yomo, shout out to him. John, please put in the good word for an OG Matrix. Yeah, I know people want the Matrix for sure.
Yeah, I want, maybe I'll put in a word to bring it forward a little bit. It will be made, but it'd be cool to see a Neo or even a Morpheus a little bit sooner.
Come on. Like I think some people want Trinity, but I think if you do Neo, Morpheus, and Agent Smith, I think those would be. And if you do Trinity, that's great. You have a 4-character line, but I think Agent Smith needs to be made too. Yeah, I think he's.
Yeah, I think the Morpheus with the red pill and the blue pill would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we did the seat, I think that'd be so cool. And also if we could sell a separate like karate outfit and do a dojo, we could go really do a lot there.
You can go
Matrix is. Yeah, I think Matrix has got a lot of scope, so hopefully we can do this sooner rather than later.
Socratic Mind 89, thanks so much. Will you guys ever consider a Mega 1/6 figure like a Darkseid or Doomsday from BVS? I would assume not, but what are your thoughts on
it? Not immediately. I think if things go really, really well, we could scale the company to new heights. We could start experimenting with bigger stuff like that, and I think that'd be awesome. But right now, it's not in our wheelhouse as of yet.
Okay, we got another one real quick. Anarchy Bronze, Boromir soon. You guys said he would be made last. Boromir's maybe next year, but probably after that, right? From what it sounds like.
Yeah, based on the plan, it could be, if it's next year, it'll be in the last half of the year.
Okay. Gotcha. Last half of the year. Okay, we got one more super chats, guys. Remember, don't send any more super chats, please, because like I said, we're running out of time. Carlos asks, Heath Ledger Purple Code Joker 2.0 status. Is that still being considered?
I think we had a live stream with Ivan about that earlier this year, right? And we were talking about, there's a lot of controversy about the 2.0 because we said we wouldn't do it.
Right.
The Heath Ledger one in particular, they told us that the rights to his likeness had expired. I think it expired this year. So if we ever wanted to do anything with Heath Ledger, it had to be started before the rights expire.
Okay.
So it's possible we might do something again just to see if we can improve, but we'd be looking at maybe something different. I don't know. But if we've done it, the reason is because we want to have that last opportunity. Yeah. And they might change their mind again. I don't know how all those negotiations work, but Warner Brothers circulated an announcement saying that's what you've got to do. So that's what we would have been doing, but no news yet, and I haven't seen it in the line plan.
Okay, so last super chat, Sergeant Sal collects. What about a Judge Dredd? I haven't heard anything about that, but what do you think?
Is that the one with Sylvester Stallone?
I think it's Judge Carl Urban for that one, right?
Carl
Urban, Judge Dredd.
I think there was an earlier movie back in the 80s with Stallone. I might be wrong on that.
Okay, gotcha. I know the Carl Urban one, but
yeah, we'd have to clarify on either those two. Like the more niche IP we could look at, for sure. I know it's not that niche in terms of like how the movie performed, but
yeah.
So that's the Carl Urban one, right? Okay. Yeah, I think there was one before that as well.
Oh, it's the Stallone one also. Gotcha. Okay.
It could be. I might be wrong, but I know there was one in the 80s, so we could look into that.
Okay.
Is this a TV show or is it a movie?
I think it's a movie from what I remember. For this one, the Stallone one's probably a movie too, I would assume. But yeah, that would be cool. I mean, you guys be going way back for that one, but that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I wanted us to do RoboCop, but I think Hot Toys have already done it. There's a few people working on that in different scales, so we're open to that kind of thing. Just let us know. We'll just email us and we'll start looking into it.
I have one or two final questions here. With the 1/12 and 1/6 thing, are you guys dedicated to one over the other moving forward? Is one more profitable than the other? Like, do you feel like you're going to go more 1/12, or are you still dedicated to 1/6?
So ultimately, the teams are split. So Viper is lead for art director for the company, but his main focus is on 1/6, and that's where his passion lies. And he has his own team. We have an entirely different 1/12 team and a whole different set of factories for 1/12. So those two work interdependently from each other, independently. The challenge would be on the marketing side of things, because we'd have to look at marketing both teams the same. Distribution, we've got different distributors, so that's fine. We can scale both. But what you will see is you'll see a stronger schedule in 1/12 next year, meaning there should be 20 to 30 at least figures for 1/12.
Okay.
And that's just because of the nature of the market demands that more, and it's a little bit easier. There's less tailoring, there's no rooting of the hair, so that's why we can speed things up. So but the what I want to get across is that 1/6 is still our top priority for that team and for the company, but 1/12 is another priority for their team and our company. So they're both really important to us. Gotcha. And there's not one's not necessarily more profitable than the other, because the price points are completely different.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and like the offerings, like you said, rooted hair versus not, it's a completely different ball game altogether.
Yeah, so the worry is that people start to compare the two and say, well, why are you doing this and not that? The difference is that the 1/12 will be 90% of the time will be like all sculpted and there's no rooted hair. So that's why you can do it faster.
Yeah.
As soon as you start rooting hair and you start tailoring fabrics, it slows things down.
Yeah, that makes sense. It definitely does take longer. So, and I was going to ask you too, Johnny, real quick. Now that InArt's been doing figures for over 3 years now, have the goals, the strategy, the missions, have they changed at all in those 3 years?
A little bit, but the question I have is, what do you think our mission is? Because I'm curious to understand, and it'd be interesting to see what collectors have this opinion. Like, what do you think our mission is?
Post that in the chat. But for me, if you were asking me the question, I think your mission is to make the most realistic figures possible I think whether you guys say it or not, I think you are making premium figures. I think you're making targeting a market that is slightly different than, say, Hot Toys, for example, albeit there's some crossover there. But I think your goal is to make the most hyper realistic figures you can, while also keeping the price accessible to this niche hobby community. I think that would be the goal, while also making characters that you feel like are gonna, make you money. It's a business at the end of the day. So, I think making I also think somewhat of your goal is to make push the industry forward. honestly. I think you guys have tried to do things that no other company has done before. And I think it has actually pushed the industry forward and inspired other companies. And, you know, the premium figure game is now a whole thing. I mean, everyone's doing, you know, wool implanted, premium rooted hair figure, silicone, whatever. Everyone's doing that now. And I think that's in large part because of, you know, you guys popularized it. So I think that's a goal of yours would be my opinion on it.
Yeah, so the reason why I asked that question is because marketing and branding is like a part of the business that you've got to look at. Yeah. And as a company, you try your best to get the message across, but it doesn't matter what we think, it's what you guys think. And what you just said is what we want to do. Yeah. I think Kiko basically made a video or had some criticisms about our schedule before. Yeah. And he was saying, it's not sustainable, you can't make this many figures. But that's based on the Hot Toys model. Right. We're not Hot Toys, we're InArt. What you said is what we want to do. And it's going to be a little bit frustrating for people that want everything now, but we're trying to be premium. And if you start going into mass, that premium quality is going to drop. Yes. So that's essentially, so if you're in collecting for the long run and not just for the hype right now, which it's up to you what you want to do with your money. We don't really judge anyone on that, right? But if you're really like a really big fan of Lord of the Rings and you're here for a long time, we'll be here for a long time. And we just want to make the best figures we can, push the envelope, everything you said, basically. Yeah. But that's why we won't be doing like 40 pre-orders in a year right now, unless we could comfortably say the quality won't drop. And that's why it hasn't really increased massively, because the quality is the most important thing. The only strategy that's changed would be we've moved into 112. And the goals are exactly the same in 112. We're just a different market. And the reason we've done that is we've got another team that are also equally as passionate, but they're just 112 guys. Yeah. So our company's goal is just to make best collectible. So we have a statue team. Those guys are obsessed with statues. We have a 6 scale team. They're obsessed with 6 scale. We have a 112 team that's obsessed with 112. Our company is basically funding those guys to do what they want to do, and then they'll make a little bit of money off of that. That's the company's strategy, basically.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. And guys, remember, please don't submit any more super chats. I'm going to get to these real quick with Johnny. Anarchy Bronze, thanks so much. Never ever sacrifice quality. You guys have it in the bag. Keep up the amazing details and intricacies. Opening an InArt figure is an experience. I love you. So yeah. Thanks. Shout out to Anarchy Bronze. I'm sure you guys love that, Johnny, to hear that. I mean, that's the goal, right? You know, you want to make a premium experience. Your guys' boxes, Hot Toys has stepped up their game on packaging, I will say, but the InArt unboxing experience is definitely very unique and I think a step above anyone else in my experience. So
yeah, it's like that's just another aspect, right? It's the focus on every detail. I don't know if we still do the movie stubs, but we used to do that. There's lots of different things that we're trying to do to make it just a cool experience. It's supposed to be fun, enjoyable, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah. SJC, final super chat, guys. Any reason why Superman 2025 doesn't have a smiling, hopeful expression? What went into that decision?
I'm not sure. I think it's mostly what at that time what the group of artists would have felt like. This one, they'll have behind the scenes, they'll have access to all of the assets, right? Yeah. They'll get to see the different screenshots. The problem with big movies like Superman, we had the same with Black Adam a few years ago, but we didn't make the figure, is that they want to keep everything super secret. So the problem with so if we did Heath Ledger, we can watch Dark Knight all day and all night, and we can see every aspect. We can see all the screenshots online. There's loads of people talking about it. When the movie hasn't been released, we get a really small selection, and they don't show us the whole movie. And we can't make the figure after the movie comes out because then we miss the boat. We had to start that figure a year before the movie even started, or at least 9 months. So we had a limited asset pool or asset catalog to work from, and they'll have seen that for, oh, that looks cool, let's do that. That's probably the reason why. But they didn't really share that with us until the pre-order is almost ready and said, oh, this is what it's going to look like.
Gotcha. Okay. So that makes sense. So it was at that point, it was pretty much already in the pipeline though.
Yeah.
Okay. Carlos, just a super sad stress. I will. Well, mission successful. Thank you so much, Carlos. Appreciate you, bro. Johnny, last question. And I know we got to go. Any new technologies that InArt is experimenting with? So silicone, real metal. I know that the endoskeleton is mostly die cast, it sounds like. Seamless bodies, maybe Daenerys could be a seamless body. Is there anything like that? I know that magnetic bases seems to be a thing of the past. Is that true?
It's something that they'll not give up on, but they'll keep looking at. I think there was a lot of complaints about the magnetic bases, the figures falling over, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'd say most of the time it's fine, but like I said, we want to keep the quality as high as possible, and there will be, because most of our figures are, I'd say a good 40% of it's hand done, and then the other 60% through like machinery, right? So there will be some slight differences and changes. So with that in mind, they want to keep consistency as much as possible. So that's probably why the magnets have been dropped. The silicone, Bruce Lee would be one where you'd really see it, and silicone something we're specialists in because of Queen Studios. Yeah. So a lot of people had criticisms about silicone and all that kind of stuff, but ultimately we've been working with silicone for like 8 years as a company, and the companies we work with have been working with silicone for like 20 years. So they know what they're doing. So you'll see more when it comes to like Bruce Lee, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
I think those are the key points, right? We've got the rolling eyes. There could be other. There's the battery on the side, like the lights glow up on the T800 endoskeleton, I think.
Yeah.
We're constantly experimenting. It's just that you've got to be confident that it's ready for the collector before you ship it, because that's the other danger. And that's what I mean about quality.
Did they say, Johnny, anything about the endoskeleton eye? Is it battery operated or is it USB? Did they say?
I need to follow up on that, because the battery operation part, like button cell batteries, are going to be a nightmare. You can't ship with button cell batteries, and you'd be constantly replacing them. So I think we'd have to do USB, but they haven't passed that part down to us yet. But I will follow up on that.
Okay, yeah, because the button cell batteries are horrible. Yeah, they last about 15 seconds, and like you said, shipping them is a nightmare. So
yeah, some shippers won't even allow it. So I think we should avoid that entirely if we can.
Yeah, I think so too, if possible. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much. Just thank you so much to Johnny for joining us. Thank you guys so much for engaging with the chat and posting all your questions. If there are any others, I'm sure InArt will do future Q&As on this channel and of course on their own channel. So check out them, InArt and InArt Official. You guys can always find them on YouTube, Facebook. Johnny, anything else you want to say, man, before we wrap things up?
That's about it, really. I think hopefully people are still collecting. I saw your video that people aren't collecting Hot Toys anymore.
Oh, you
and
saw that?
Okay, nice. And I saw all the comments below, and I think Riley just announced he's going to stop collecting 1/6 and move to 1/12.
Yep.
So hopefully we still have some collectors that are still willing to buy. So that's all we want. Just stick with us, hopefully. And just thanks for the support.
We'll be out there for sure. Yeah. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Like, again, not a lot of companies are willing to address the community head on like this. And trust me, it's very much appreciated. So, thanks, man, for taking the time to do it. I really appreciate it. Sorry, we ran a little bit over, but we got a lot of good questions answered. So thank you guys so much for joining, providing all your questions. Thank you so much to Johnny. Again, guys, InArt Official, you always know where to find them: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. And, I'm going to be reviewing, Johnny, by the way, Nazgul is here. So I actually have it.
Okay,
so
nice.
I'll be reviewing that with the horse. Legless is on its way. It got lost in somewhere in the United States, and then it's coming now, apparently. So I'll be reviewing that. So I'm excited to do some InArt products moving forward, but it'll be a good time. So
awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to drop your comments down below. And again, thank you for joining. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And again, check out InArt Official. Johnny, thanks so much, man, as always. And guys, catch you in the next one. Maybe we'll do another interview whenever the next big slate of announcements is. We'll do that. How about that? And then SDCC next year. How about that? We can do that as well. So that should be fun.
We should be back next year. So hopefully see more collectors next year as well.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll catch you in the next